Let's explore the topic of fasting and why I think it's one of the best tools for spiritual exploration and expanding your self-awareness. Because if you're not familiar with fasting, and especially a little bit longer fasts, when you embark on, let's say, a 24-hour fast, you will learn a lot about yourself and your behaviors and your patterns and your desires, and it will give you so much. The biggest benefit of a fast is usually that you have a lot of energy. I regularly intermittent fast, so I usually don't eat breakfast because I realize it's not important to me. I drink coffee with some butter and that gives me energy. And the butter actually doesn't end the fast because it's only fat. So I get a little bit of energy, but my stomach can kind of just relax and that eventually gives me more energy to keep going. Another thing is that we have forgotten what it feels to be hungry and what other things come up when we actually are hungry. We are so used to, and society and everyone tells us that we need to eat constantly. It's healthy to eat constantly. We need to eat breakfast. We need to eat lunch. We need to eat dinner. We need to eat just night snack and just eating. But when you start questioning who's saying that, you realize that it's companies selling food that tell you that you need to eat. Isn't that crazy? You realize, like, wow, they say that so they can make more profit. And that's why people are obese because they are eating all the time. And there's a lot of different factors to this and the quality of the food and medications and all these things that I'm not gonna go into now. But if you just stop eating for some time and occasionally you stop eating for a day or two or three or even a week, that can change a lot of things. Especially because you snap out of the pattern. You're so used to eating breakfast that you don't know, you start panicking and your body is like, hey, I need the food. My body is so adapted to not eating breakfast. It feels really awful if I think about eating in the morning. And sometimes I do, especially if I'm at a hotel or I'm at a certain event, or just once in a while it's good to break that habit also to not eat. And then I eat a couple of days and that's balance, because if you just keep on one single routine, you will get blind to that. You will get so used to it and it becomes your comfort zone and there's no opportunity for growth. Another aspect with longer fasts is that it actually starts to bring up things in you. You start to have these cravings, you start to feel this deep hunger, but then a funny thing occurs. The hunger suddenly stops. And it becomes a game of, oh, this is interesting. How long can I go without eating? And I've done like 44 hours or something like that, like 2 days, 48 hours. And the weirdest part is when you go to sleep when you haven't eaten all day. It's kind of a mind fuck because you're like, how is this possible? My beliefs were that I need to eat every day. And then when you skip all food for one day, it's like, wow, can I really do that? And then you wake up the next morning and you realize you survived. Wow, it's really possible. And that kind of pushes the boundary. And you will have multiple insights and you will have these sudden urges of, oh, what should I do next? Oh, I should eat. And then you realize, like, oh, but I'm not eating today. And you realize, wow, I have time to do different things. And you realize how much time goes into eating in your life. And that time you can start doing different stuff. And because eating is tied to restaurants or your kitchen or places like this, but when you decide that you don't need to eat, you can go for longer. Let's say you go in the wilderness. Let's say you do something, maybe not the wilderness, and if there can be complications. So you have to kind of be aware, especially the first times. We don't want anyone to get hurt. So if you're a more advanced one, you can push the boundaries of what is capable when you're fasting. But if you're starting out, just try it out. Like 24 hours, you can, whatever, you will survive. If you have some medications, and yeah, if you have diabetes, maybe not then, but just use common sense and stay at home, chill, and have something ready if there's like a major emergency. And if you have a major emergency, you're gonna learn so much about yourself. So either way, fasting for me has, every time I do it, especially 24 hours or more, it evolves me. There's some part of me that kind of develops, and it's amazing. And the first time I did 24 hours was like 4 years ago, and before that I didn't even realize that it could be a thing, and there could be benefits. I was just so on autopilot. But then when I went deeper into personal development and kind of raising my awareness, it just naturally came. And the first time I had to kind of force myself. I had to have all these like sparkling waters and things that help when you fast, so you get a little bit of a feeling that you're putting something in your body, because that's essentially what your body will start to do. It's like it starts to crave, and then it's like your stomach starts to kind of get smaller. And the first time was really weird, and I remember eating after that was just like, what am I allowed to eat? And especially if you go longer, when you lose the sense of appetite, kind of, you lose the hunger, you don't want to eat, and you realize that, wow, could there be a life where people don't need to eat, that we would get the energy somehow else? And that's probably gonna be the future. And I don't know, maybe we people just like eating so much, and that's another byproduct. When you don't eat for a few days, then you can kind of start fresh, and you go and you eat something that you really wanted, that you craved, and there's a lot of different benefits. And if you don't embark on this, and if you don't try, you will never know. And for me at the moment, it's like I get these spontaneous 24-hour fasts if I have some kind of illness, or if I have something is just off in my body. I naturally tend to not want to eat, and then the body has kind of time and space to start healing itself. Because we have to remember that when we eat, it takes a lot of energy for the body to process the food that essentially then becomes the energy. But we are so stuffed, we have been eating for so long in a row, that our body just wants a break. And especially if you eat the moment you wake up and you eat until you go to sleep, and that's like 8 hours, and your body is like, no, I want some more. And when you get used to 15, 16 hours, you start feeling lighter, and it's just such a great thing. And then you remember that the narrative is that you should eat because then you consume more, so that means that you buy more, and some people get more money. So always question the people who are saying, look who's talking. And that's gonna be a really great point in life in general, because who do you take advice from? I only tell things from experience that I've come up with myself in my life, or that I've read that I think is really amazing concepts. And fasting is one of those things I think everyone should do. If you don't know, you don't know. If you haven't tried fasting, you can't know what the benefits are and what the process feels like. So I suggest start a 24-hour fast. Some small tips that I have is that if you eat a lot of carbs before you start the fast, let's say the evening before, it's gonna be way harder to fast. If you eat protein-based food and some vegetables and stuff that is actually good for you, it's gonna be easier to fast. And that's just the thing that I've realized when I've been testing out different things. If you do a longer fast, you wanna end the fast lightly. You wanna start with something light. Don't stuff a Big Mac in your face when you've fasted for 48 hours. You're gonna feel like shit after that. So there's some common sense guidelines, but eventually you just have to embark on the journey and take it as a journey. Put a mission, download an app that counts the hours and you can see benefits, and that can be a game for you. But I promise you, if you do a 24-hour fast, you will see some kind of benefits. You will have some kind of insights, and it will be a really great investment in yourself and your self-development journey. And sometimes you get these really deep insights about yourself and your purpose, your passion, and it's free. It's the anti-drug. It's the weirdest thing ever. You stop eating and just drink water and salt and electrolytes, and suddenly that's where the insights come. It's so crazy, but it works. That being said, we're gonna end this video here. My name is Mitz, your future purpose, here to help you find more fulfillment, passion, and purpose in life. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video that you can watch here. And it's all about why intention is so powerful.